All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. We're tackling what is honestly one of the most vital metrics in value-based management, and that is economic value added, or EVA. Whether you're gearing up for a major finance exam or you're a professional trying to really grasp how wealth is built inside a corporation, getting a solid grip on EVA is absolutely non-negotiable.
I want to start things off by asking you a fundamental question. Think about this. If a business looks profitable on paper, does that automatically mean it's actually increasing shareholder wealth? It kind of sounds like a trick question, right? I mean, we're totally conditioned to just glance at the bottom line of an income statement and cheer when the number is green. But as we're going to see today, traditional accounting profit, it really only tells half the story.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll hit the flaw of accounting profit, define economic value added, break down the actual formula, walk through a step-by-step calculation, talk about adjusting GAAP, and finish up with some mistakes and memory aids.
Part 1. The flaw of accounting profit.
What's really wild here is that traditional GAAP accounting profit completely ignores a massive hidden cost. I'm talking about the return required by the providers of capital, specifically the equity investors. When a company uses equity to fund its operations, that money isn't free. There is a very real opportunity cost there, which is the return those exact same investors could have made on the best alternative investment of a similar risk. Accounting profit basically turns a blind eye to this opportunity cost, but economic profit, it explicitly accounts for it.
Let's move right along to Part 2, defining economic value added.
So in value-based management, EVA is basically used as a proxy for a business unit's true economic profit. It's designed to measure the marginal benefit obtained by using resources in a very specific way. And the whole reason it's considered true economic profit is that it explicitly includes a charge for that cost of equity capital we were just talking about. It makes sure that a company isn't just making money, but making enough money to justify the capital it's tying up.
Part 3. The EVA formula breakdown.
Okay, here is the basic formula. EVA equals your after-tax operating income minus the product of your invested capital multiplied by your weighted average cost of capital. That last part is often just abbreviated as WACC. Now, it looks pretty simple at first glance, but we really need to understand exactly what each of these components actually mean.
Let's isolate that very first piece. After-tax operating income is exactly what it sounds like. It's the pure profit generated from your core business operations right after the tax bill has been paid. It's a reflection of how well the business is running on a purely operational level before you even start considering how the business itself is financed.
But wait, hold on a second. This brings us to a classic exam trick, and honestly, it's something that trips up working professionals all the time too. If we are looking at income, why on earth are we specifically ignoring the interest expense? Like, why use operating income instead of bottom-line net income, which already subtracts that interest?
The answer is actually super simple, but it's absolutely critical. You ignore interest expense in this first part of the formula because the cost of debt is already implicitly captured in your weighted average cost of capital. If you subtracted interest expense from your operating income and then applied a capital charge that also includes the cost of debt, you'd be double counting your debt costs, and we definitely do not want to do that.
And that leads us beautifully into the second half of the formula, invested capital times WACC. You can think of this product as your total capital charge. It acts as a financial hurdle. Your invested capital is the total amount of money tied up in the business, and the WACC is the average rate of return your investors and lenders expect. Multiply those two together, and you get a literal dollar amount that your operating income absolutely must jump over to generate real, true value.
Part 4. Calculating EVA step by step.
Let's put some numbers to this. Let's say a firm invests $200,000 into a brand new operating segment. Their weighted average cost of capital is 9%. First things first, we calculate that hurdle. $200,000 multiplied by 9% gives us a capital charge of $18,000. Okay, now let's say the segment goes out and generates a current year after-tax operating income of $21,000. Subtracting the $18,000 capital hurdle from our $21,000 income leaves us with an economic value added of $3,000.
Because this number, $3,000, is positive, it proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the investment did way more than just tread water. It generated a tangible marginal benefit. It covered both its operational costs and the opportunity cost of the capital provided, which explicitly increases shareholder value.
Part 5. Adjusting GAAP for EVA.
You know how standard accounting principles require certain expenditures to be treated as immediate expenses? Well, that lowers your operating income today.
But in value-based management, we recognize that this can cause a really dangerous short-term focus, leading managers to cut valuable programs just to artificially boost this year's profit. Because GAAP doesn't always reflect true economic value generation, we often have to adjust these figures for our EVA calculation. So instead of expensing things like research and development, promotional activities, and employee training, we capitalize them. We actually remove them from the income statement entirely and add them to invested capital, treating them as long-term assets that generate ongoing value.
And finally, Part 6, Mistakes and Memory Aids.
To truly lock this all in for exam day, you've got to remember this one fundamental principle. A firm earns a real profit only after it has repaid the cost of capital. And to help you remember the formula order, just think of the phrase, income beats capital cost. That's operating income minus your capital charge. You literally haven't won the game until you've cleared the hurdles set by the opportunity cost of equity.
I'll leave you today with this bit of a provocative thought. Imagine your current return on investment is 12%. You find a new project returning 10%. Now, traditional metrics might just scream reject it because it drags down your overall percentage ROI. But if that project clears your cost of capital and generates a positive EVA, it is adding actual, tangible dollars to shareholder wealth. Sometimes, improving your true economic value means making decisions that make your traditional accounting percentages look worse. So the question is, which reality will you choose to manage? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep building that real value.